Hey y'all, it's Hope at Crafty Hope and welcome. I'm working on day 57 of ICAD. Y'all, I cannot believe there are only like 4 days left of ICAD. Um, so it is a 61-day challenge. ICAD means Index Card a Day and comes from Tammy Garcia of Daisy Yellow. Like I said, we're getting here toward the end of it. Tammy has weekly themes and daily prompts that we use during this challenge. Now, just because this challenge is ending doesn't mean you can't go and look at her themes and prompts. She has them all on her website. If you want to play along and not be during the June and July period, if you want that as a little challenge for yourself for this coming month, she's got it all there for you. I've got links below. You can also find Tammy on Instagram as Gypsy999. My friend Nina also has her own prompts, which are the mixed media ICAD prompts. So, and sometimes I use the prompts, sometimes I don't. I never use the weekly themes. That's just too much. Sometimes the prompts are too much. But today, Tammy's Daisy Yellow prompt is Luminous, and the mixed media ICAD prompt from Nina is texture paste, and I knew I could use both of those. I got a new product in the other day and I thought, ooh, this could be a great way to use that and it would involve using both of these. So one of the things I put down, you can see over on the right, is a little piece of, I think it's some deli paper that's got metallic paint on it, and that's kind of luminous. But I am trying to use up a bunch of scraps that I have during this challenge. It's my own personal challenge for ICAD this year. So I am bulking up this card right now with just some more substantial, I guess, pieces of paper before I start on some of these other fiddly bits that have a little more texture to them. So as you saw, I stuck down all kinds of little things, and I'm just using an Oohoo glue stick to get them all down, and this little scraper helps me flatten things out. And then I got that piece of doily. I like the texture on it. And now I'm going to bring in that's a tea bag, y'all. And I like the texture I'm going to get from the tea bag, but at the same time, I don't like how it reacts to some other things, but it works in the end. It all works out in the end. So as you can see, I put the glue stick down on my card, and then I am crumpling up the tea bag kind of on top to get it stuck down to give it some texture. Now I know texture paste is on here, but I wanted as much texture as I could get on this card as possible. So I am trimming down this card, and all the while I am thinking about what I want to do next. And I'm going to go ahead and bring my texture paste in. This is like a homemade texture paste. You can see it's in a takeout container, and it's a mix of I don't even remember now. I think it's some joint something, and I think there's some gesso in it and maybe some plaster of Paris. I don't know. It's just a bunch of stuff that's a homemade texture paste. I've heard a couple different artists use different recipes for their own texture paste, and this is just what I have right now. So I am spreading that out with a tiny palette knife, and I'm just trying to make sure I get some texture on here. Now, ideally, I would have left this to air dry, but excuse me, I don't have the time for that. I want to go ahead and get this ICAD done, so I am going to blast it with my heat gun and let it dry. And y'all, I did that several times. I blasted it and kind of felt on it to see if it was still cold, and then blasted it again. And now I am kind of rubbing off anything that's, I don't know, that wants to fall off, basically, that's poking up or whatever, and sticking down anything that's coming up, because I knew that I was going to be rubbing my finger over the card later. But first I want to add some color. This is a Dynaflow ink. I'll put a link to it before. It comes in a set. I bought it at like Alice 5 and Dime forever ago. I happened to see it, and I didn't have any inks at that time and didn't really know a whole lot about inks, so I was like, oh, these look fun. So yeah, you can buy that whole set, but this is the turquoise color, which I decided, yeah, blue is my favorite. I'm going to drip some blue on there. And as you saw, I dripped it in several places. I sprayed water on it. I'm spreading it out with a wet paintbrush. I'm not digging where the tea bag soaked up so much of that ink right there in the middle, because it's not moving around. And the tea bags were protesting a little. They were like, look, I was already wet. I don't want to be wet again, but I got it, whatever. And then I've got my instant coffee here in my yogurt cup. And it just reconstituted a little, and I'm splashing it onto that wet ink. I'm not trying really to get splatters, but just a little additional something else of color on there because that coffee splatters just kind of spread out in the water. And I tried that. And now I am bringing in, this is my newest product. It is the Tim Holtz, I think it's from Ranger Ink. It's Foundry Wax. Now this stuff is interesting. You have to shake it up. It's got a little ball in it, and when you shake it up, you put it on a craft sheet, and you're supposed to probably use a paintbrush. It's a little noxious in its odor, so if you don't like strong odors, I don't recommend this. But as it sits in the air, it becomes more solid. So I'm just using my finger to rub that wax. I'm just putting a little bit at a time down to make sure it doesn't get too solid before I can get it down. And I'm just lightly rubbing it over to the textured areas of this to pick up the texture. Now, once I get that down, and y'all, it's really wicked how it becomes more and more waxy the longer it sits in the air. It's super neat. So, and that was the gilded color. There are 4 shades right now, and I just grabbed that one first because I already had that little bit of gold on there, so I thought it worked. Then you heat the wax up, and as you heat it, it becomes like more metallic and permanent on your surface. Now, I'm sure there are other ways to use this wax. I am still playing with it, but here's a look at how like shiny some of it got. I am super pleased with that. And from there, I was like, I could just be done. This is pretty awesome, but I decided to go ahead and frame this up. So I'm going to use my Stabilo All Pencil in black to just go around the edges of the card real quick, and I'm going to activate it with a wet paint brush. And it really does add some like wicked moodiness around the outside. I kind of love that. Um, yeah, because it's just kind of that gray black that kind of, and some of that seeps into that texture as well, and it makes it, ooh, yeah, really yummy. So, but I decided I wanted a little more black on the card, so I'll take my stub of a Stabilo there with that wet paintbrush and just pick up some of the color on the paintbrush and splatter it. And I'll do that, I think twice I do it, maybe 3 times. Um, and I will splatter that and dry my card again. So this was, and I'm getting here close to the end because there's not much more I need because I really like the texture and everything I've got here. So I have a little snippet of fabric that just is hanging out on my desk, and I decided I wanted to use that with some kind of sentiment. And at first I pull out my big chat stickers, but I decide no, I don't want a single word. I want some kind of statement. So I've got these Art by Marlene stickers and find the phrase, "You don't have to be perfect," which I thought as like textured and grungy and weird. And it's not so much weird, but like imperfect that background is it because it's chunky and everything's modeled and different. It's not perfect, and I love that. The imperfect is often the most interesting, I think. So you can be unique, and yeah. So I stuck that sticker straight onto that piece of fabric, and I'm going to just use a little matte gel medium onto the back of that fabric to go ahead and stick it onto my card. And that's going to be it, y'all. I have a ton of pictures of this one at the end so you can see all the details. And I'll have links to some of those products below. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. I would love to answer them, hear what you have to say. All of that. All right, if you like this, give me a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Bye.